Some quick questions for you. What do Norse mythology and Hinduism have in common? Did you ever collect all of Zygarde's cores and cells?
You ever hang around a gymnasium? You like movies about gladiators?
If you're curious about this, like I am, stay tuned as we explore mythology and gaming. Hello everyone, and welcome to the final part in our three-part series on the Aura Trio. We've explored Xerneas, Yveltal, and finally in this video, we'll be exploring the third of the trio, Zygarde, the Order Pokémon. This is one of the most unique Pokémon in the series, having multiple forms and a collectathon to get the most powerful form. If you've ever played the Crown Tundra DLC, you'll know just how powerful it can be. But let's investigate Zygarde and its role in the games. First discovered in Pokémon X and Pokémon Y, Zygarde is a dragon and ground type, hiding away within the depths of the Terminus Cave, only being attainable after becoming the champion of the Kalos region. Being the third of the Aura Trio, its ability, Aura Break, ties itself with Xerneas and Yveltal's abilities, negating the effects of both Fairy Aura and Dark Aura. What's more interesting is in Pokémon Sun and Pokémon Moon, Zygarde receives the additional ability Power Construct, allowing Zygarde to change his form when at 50% health or below. On top of this ability, the player can collect Zygarde cores and cells to construct Zygarde from the ground up, forming a 10%, 50%, and 100%, each having its own stat distributions. But these three connect to mythology more than you may realize. Starting off the connections is Zygarde's 10% form as a cute green and black dog. Much like the previous two legendaries we covered in Part 1 and Part 2, Zygarde connects to Norse mythology with its dog form. However, our connection may not be what you think. In Pokémon X and Pokémon Y, Zygarde doesn't have this dog form, as it's only in Pokémon Sun and Pokémon Moon where the forms actually begin. Knowing this, the connection best fits what would be Hati and Skull, the wolves who chase the sun and the moon. We know this from the Poetic Edda saying, "Skull is the name of the wolf, who follows the shining priest into the desolate forest." The other is Hati, Hrodnavir's son, who chases the bright bride of the sky. These two wolves, Skull and Hati, chase the sun and moon endlessly, until the day of Ragnarok, when both wolves catch their prey swallowing the celestial bodies. Zygarde's dog form represents these two combined. Over the journey through the Alola region, you chase down the different cores and cells that make up Zygarde, eventually forming this legendary. The other prevailing theory is with Fenrir, the father of the two wolves, and son of the infamous Loki. In relation to Xerneas and Yveltal having Zygarde's 10% form be the wolf, Fenrir is incredibly fitting, as Zygarde's stats in this form focus on speed and attack, notable skills for a wolf. The dog shape also features a collar, tying in with the wolf Fenrir again, having to be controlled to maintain order throughout the realms. Tyr, the war god, wrapped a divine rope around Fenrir, creating a leash of sorts, only to lose his hand in the process. This is something I'm going to touch on in just a little bit, but this relationship is very promising as this ties into the overall connection with Zygarde and mythology. Following that, we come to our original form, the snake dragon of the world. Looking at its design, we find that Zygarde features a fan-like formation on its back and a flat tail. Let's focus on this aspect first. Though many snakes in the world feature flat tails, like some sea snakes and hognoses, Zygarde doesn't come anywhere near water. Instead, this feature connects strongly to the Naga in Hinduism and even Buddhist mythology, a race of divine serpent humanoids who live deep within the earth known as Patala. This nether realm is also considered to be the underworld, a fitting place for the dragon and ground type serpent, like Zygarde. In generations 6 and 7 being found very deep underground. Zygarde's flat tail attributes to the origins of the Nagas in Hinduism, which derive from fishtails, as it was believed that these creatures came from the ocean initially, and then made their way deep underground into the underworld or nether realm. In addition to the connections with the Nagas and snakes, Zygarde's 50% form is the second piece to our mythological bundle. As Fenrir is the son of the infamous Loki, so too is Jormungandr. The Midgard snake, or world serpent of Norse mythology. A snake encompassing the entirety of the earth, connects Zygarde as a child of Loki. Zygarde shows this by being a ground type and using his signature move, Land Wrath, to shake and crack the earth beneath the opponent's feet. It was said that at any time Jormungandr moved or shifted, it would cause earthquakes. As well, along Zygarde's slithering body, we see the cells that make up its body. These cells reflect the massive scales of the world serpent as it would shine or glint in the distance. Now this may be just a fun thought, but this form of Zygarde reflects the story of Fenrir and Tyr with the 5 frills on its back. As the wolf Fenrir bit off the hand of Tyr, some stories say that it ate the hand of its former master. As Zygarde transforms from its 10% dog form into its snake form, we see the 5 fingers of Tyr's hand at the back reflecting this myth. However, connecting back to parts 1 and 2 where we covered Xerneas and Yveltal, we find another similar connection. As the 3 forms of Zygarde reflect Loki's children, this form reflects the trinity within Yggdrasil when it comes to Xerneas and Yveltal. As Xerneas is the tree itself and the 4 deer on it, Yveltal is the eagle and hawk that sit atop its branches. This leaves Zygarde as the ever-biting Nidhogger, a dragon and worm that gnaws at the roots of the tree, flying through Niflheim, wanting desperately to destroy the world tree. Its brief mention in the Prose Eddas say, 3 roots of the tree uphold and stand exceedingly broad. 1 is among the Aesir, 1 among the Rime giants, and 3rd stands over Niflheim, where Nidhogger gnaws the root from below. Showing that below everything on the world tree is the trapped and grounded dragon wanting to be free, this worm of Norse mythology connects further as some of the cores that make up its body watch over the powers of Xerneas and Yveltal to see when they might fight. Just as the squirrel Ratatoskr scurries throughout Yggdrasil, whispering rumors to and from the eagle and Nidhogger. Zygarde's complete form is its most powerful and its most unusual, going from the small cells and cores to a dog, then a snake, and finally a humanoid Pokémon. Honestly, it looks more like Voltron than anything else, but I digress. But this form shares with it some unique connections that many in the community have seemingly missed. Zygarde's true and complete form shows a gigantic and colorful mouth on its chest that we can connect back to ancient Indian mythology. The traditional Tibetan text called the Nyingma depicts an ancient and powerful deity, Rahula, also known as Za, who protects the teachings of Buddhism and some aspects of Hinduism. This god was said to have 4 arms, a lower body of a coiled snake, and, what cements our connection, a face at their belly showing their true face. These features of Rahula appear on Zygarde because these two are protectors of the lands and their virtues. Both Rahula and Zygarde are ferocious and terrifying when provoked, and will stop at nothing to maintain the order that they require, whether on Earth or among the cosmos. Furthering this, Rahula's many heads are said to eclipse the sun and even the moon. An interesting distinction is that Zygarde's power construct ability and complete form were introduced in both Pokémon Sun and Pokémon Moon. In all honesty, I wanted to provide text and quotes for this, but unfortunately there's not much on it. I got most of my info from a 2012 graduate paper by Cameron Bailey, which I'll post a link to in the description if you might be interested. It's a good read, actually. As we've discussed before, the 3 forms of Zygarde all depict and connect to the 3 children of the Norse god Loki, as well as the Jotun Angrboda, Fenrir, Jormungandr, and lastly, Hel. That's Hel with 1 L, not 2. Hel in Norse mythology presides over the souls of the dead. Within the Prose Edda, Hel is mentioned prolifically, stating, Hel he cast into Niflheim, and gave her power over 9 worlds. To apportion all abodes among those sent to her, she is half blue-black and half flesh-colored, being very lowering and fierce. It was Odin, the All-Father, who saw how deadly Hel could be and promptly gave her the proper sentencing to reside within the realm of the dead. Being one of the fiercest between the gods and the giants, no mortal, giant, or god dared to question her power and reach. Zygarde's ferocity matches this perfectly, as their health and power exceed many of the other legendaries. Even within the anime and movies, Zygarde's complete form can annihilate any force bold enough to challenge it. Additionally, Hell's depiction is one of the most unique, as being half blue-black and her other half being flesh-colored. A gruesome depiction, but one that proves her power over the 9 realms, as she is often shown as a strong and beautiful woman with one half of her body decayed and skeletal, though sometimes she is depicted as a haggard old woman who rules harshly over Niflheim. In either case, she is the portrayal of power and death within Norse mythology. This again connects with Zygarde's complete form, as the colors of blue persist along one side of Zygarde's body, with the other side showing the red coloring. This as well connects Zygarde to both Xerneas and Yveltal, showcasing both their colors. So with that, we've covered the Aura Trio and all of Zygarde's forms. This has been a massive undertaking, as everything we've talked about here wasn't even all the connections that I found for all of these Pokemon, which I may cover more on in other videos. These are always fun for me to do, and I hope that all of you enjoyed this as well, and maybe even learned a thing or two. Thank you guys so much, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. Don't forget to comment on what you think I may have missed, or what you would like to be covered next. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.